This episode of Nintendo Pow Block is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support Nintendo Pow Block and the Boss Rush Network, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Rush Network and see which tier is right for you. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on Boss Rush Network. I'm your host, the delighted and excited Eddie V. Joining me is the one, the only Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Dirrig. Hello, good sir.
Hello, Edward. How are you? How are you this evening? How's it going? How's what's today? Saturday? How's your Saturday?
It's going great. Everybody, it's the day before PAX, I should say. This episode that goes live, I should say.
Yeah. We're recording on Saturday, everybody. But it goes live on Tuesday. If you're new here, hello. Nintendo Pow Block every Tuesday. Anyways.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's been really good. Everybody's been concerned about the weather because it's been kind of windy here, and they think it's gonna rain. And yeah, help cleaning up the store and stuff like that. Getting prepared for PAX. I just got my messenger back. I got my cleaning stuff. My bathroom toiletries. I gotta wash some things. Got my new Adidas shoes, and so I gotta put a business card in my wallet just in case, and then start packing up my bag. And Wednesday morning, off to PAX I go.
Yep, off to PAX we all go, it seems. Yeah, I'm just trying to get some stuff done, finished up, and we recorded a bunch of expansion passes ahead of time, and trying to figure out what kind of show we're going to do on site and kind of what kind of show comes after that, because we're all taking a week off. And you and I at least decided that we didn't want to miss any content for Pow Block, so if we need to take a week off, we usually record ahead. And
yes,
I think everybody needs a break, and PAX is kind of like the big grand finale of the quarter for us. So everybody's gonna have their break, and we'll figure it out after that. But maybe I'm the one that just feels like I need a break because of between like the holidays and then moving and then going on vacation and then moving some more and then cleaning our old apartment and now PAX. It's like, and then on top of that, like, work's been busy and it's been nuts, Ed. It's been nuts around here. So I think I'm ready. I'm ready for a break.
It's crazy because like I told you, been working at another store the couple of weeks ago. I'm starting to work at another store in April. All the managers are taking vacation time for things. While when I get back from PAX, two people are going to be going on vacation. One doesn't come back to the 31st. Another is taking about 2 weeks off. And it's just like, what the world is going on? I did figure out who's doing our floors and how Easter is gonna go. So that's fine right there. I had to take my birthday celebration a week after my birthday because somebody is taking off on that weekend, so I can't really do anything. So that following week I'm going to take my birthday off because I actually get paid the day after my birthday, but I'm just going to be like, I'm going to celebrate it the week after because I'm trying to take my nephew. It depends on his work schedule now because he's working. I kind of want to
Hmm.
take him to Galloping Ghost, and play arcade games with him, like just show him the place. If not, um, if I can't do that, I'm probably gonna go up and go see Jesse, uh, for
Mm,
part of my birthday, and just like catch up with him and everything,
mm,
and then just go from there because my birthday work and my birthday is just such a weird time and everything. And with one of the managers still gone, by the time it hits my birthday, they'll just be coming back. So it's interesting. All the managers seeing my hours, and they were just like, "You got a month worth of vacation time." I'm like, "Yeah, I
mm.
do." So
Yeah, man. I I don't know, man. I feel like I need a break after PAX, but I'm using my time to go to PAX. So who knows? Who knows? Who's to
yeah,
say? Uh, but yeah, man, it's been busy, but I don't know. I'm ready to do this thing, and I'm ready to see some games. I'm ready to. I've made some appointments. We'll see what happens with those. Going to Atari with David. Um, we're going to talk about. I am assuming kind of Atari's new focus on video games and their
hmm
approach, and um, they've been in the publishing game for a while, but they're kind of, I don't want to say they did a Konami, because I don't think they were ever there, but they've obviously been publishing games for a while, and they obviously have that weird split history of like, oh, Atari kind of split, and here's the merchandising slash branded Atari, but then here's the game developer Atari, and they kind of share a name, but they're not really the same business. And I wonder how they kind of they reined that all in. And they're publishing smaller games like what was that color game they just published like a year ago? Chrombia, I think, starts with a K, with a color kind of puzzle game. um, they're starting to do kind of HD remakes of classic Atari games like
hmm
Lunar Lander, and like all their HD remakes kind of say and have the term Beyond attached to them. So like Lunar Lander Beyond and stuff like that. And then also the last few minutes of the interview is going to be about Roller Coaster Tycoon's 25th anniversary. So that's going to be exciting.
yeah,
I'm
I
going to
am.
ask him. I'm going to ask him straight up. I'm going to be like, "Hey, Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic, when is it coming? When can I play that on Switch?" I'm going to say, you already got Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which is fine. You already got Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures, which is less fine. Where's Classic? Where's Classic? It's going to be a question.
We call that ID, everybody. Interesting decision.
Hmm.
We're gonna leave it at that.
Hey man, I love Roller Coaster Tycoon. You know that. You love Roller
Yes,
Coaster Tycoon. We all know
yes,
that. Um, Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures on the Switch was not the ideal release, we'll say.
yes.
So
That's why I say it's a interesting decision and everything. Um. So yes, everybody. We are. It's a. As you guys watch this episode, it's the day before PAX. Me, Corey, and the crew are going to be there hanging out. But we're also going to be playing games, doing interviews, and like meeting up with other podcasters. Grayson is going to be there.
mhm.
Sebastian, the gamerhead, is going to be there, and like more people is going to be there, and I'm super excited. So I do hope I run into even just some of my Twitter friends or Twitter people, just like run into them, just say hi to them and everything,
Yeah,
and take pics. Like I'm super super, happy. Cam Hawkins that like I,
yeah,
I gotta text Grayson because I forgot to text him. Uh, I wonder when he's flying out because I'm like, why do I have a feeling that
Hmm.
I'm gonna get to O'Hara, you're gonna get to O'Hara, and we're gonna see each other. And even though we might be taking the same plane, I don't, which I don't know. I'm like, I have a feeling that we're gonna be hanging out,
Mhm.
and having a good conversation and everything. So I'm super excited. I'm my packing hasn't started yet, but I got my pants, I got my shoes, I got my Power Block and Nintendo stuff, shirts, got my cards, and just got some pair of socks, and I know tomorrow I gotta go back to Target for like the fifth time. I gotta get a towel and a dry towel and stuff.
Mm.
So
If it makes you feel better, I haven't started packing either. Mostly because I've been looking at like we'll get into it in a minute, but I've been looking at a lot of things distracting myself. So um yeah, but I have some show and tell tonight. I have some stories tonight. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I don't know if I should save because we don't. I asked for questions too late, and we didn't really get any as of the start of this recording. If we get any, I'll add them to the doc. But um, I don't know if we want to save story time for after, or if we want to kick things off with it because it has to do with our discussion that we had the other day, Ed.
um I say
So
let's do it at the end. Um Before we get like to
okay.
final thoughts. Because we got a lot to cover, and yeah, we'll just do it like that. uh but Corey, we're gonna quickly get into these plugs, this housekeeping. Nintendo Pow Block and the Boss Rush Network are headed to PAX East. You will be able to find us roaming the show floor, so if you're there, come say hi. We will be covering the event as part of the media, demoing games, conducting interviews, and recording a podcast or two live from the event. So make sure to keep your eye on bossrush.net and our YouTube channel for that. PAX East is taking place in Boston, March 21st to the 24th. So get your badges now and come say hi. If you also, guys, we have a Patreon website and our YouTube. If you want to support Nintendo Power Block and the Boss Rush Network, you can head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where you can get our supplemental show, Expansion Pass, 2 weeks early and ad free, and other perks like early access to other podcasts, voting rights, and more at the tier that's right for you. Again, that's patreon.com/Boss Rush Network.
Nice.
So, so
Nice.
yes. Well, everybody, we're gonna start the show off with Snacktendo. Corey, what have you been snacking on?
Well, Ed, tonight for the first time in a long time, I had we had Casa del Rio Express, and I had me one of them big fatty McFat fat burritos, and it was awesome. Kind of, dude, it was almost too big at this point, man. It
It
was.
didn't look big in the picture.
Oh, that's because I put it on a bigger plate, like a
Uh,
large dinner plate instead of like a normal person plate,
okay.
because it wouldn't fit on a normal plate. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I had to get our big plates out. It was fun. It was a good time. Uh, but other than that, I just had some cookies, and that was kind of it.
All
But
right.
man, Casa del Rio, so good. I also ate I tasted some of my wife's taco salad because her taco salad shells are good. And then she
Mm-hmm.
was done, and I'm like, "Is there any shell left?" She's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, let me try that. And I ate some of the shell and some goodies inside of it, and that was it. But yeah, it
Right.
was fun. It was
Uh,
great.
well, well, for me, everybody, um, we just got some sweet and spicy honey lay chips.
Mm,
Um, and they're very good. They're really good. Corey, they are such up your alley. Like the spice, it brings that heat. I was just like, ooh. I'm like, I taste the honey, I taste the sweetness. Oh, I forgot my tongue hates spiciness sometimes, but it's a good spice. Like it like I it makes me balance out eating the bag instead of like just digging in going faster.
Hmm.
It allows me to eat the bag at a slower pace, so I have still a lot of chips. And like I was just eating it, let my tongue get hot, and then let it cool down, and then eat it some more. It's really really good. We just got them Friday. Um, so they're just brand new in our store. Really really good. They I wish they had the smaller bag, but they just had the bigger bag, so I decided to get that and try it. But it was really really good. I will say it's probably, if they keep this flavor, it's definitely gonna be a hit for the summer and everything, for anyone who likes that spicy kick with and I think it'll be good. I will say it's a good um side for hot dogs. It really, I think it's really gonna give that good flavor of like if you eat the chip and you just eat like a regular hot dog, that sweet and that spiciness going on with that meat and sides that you put on, if you in case if you don't have jalapenos on it or anything. But if you just like keep it normal for your hot dog and you eat that sweet and spicy honey lace chips, it's gonna have a good combination. It's gonna be really good and everything. Because it's even gonna make the hot dog spicy, and it's gonna give it a really good balance. Um, so that was the one that I tried. And that's pretty much it. I had Chipotle and um McDonald's and stuff like that. I didn't get a Shamrock Shake this year. I got to see if they're still selling them, because Sunday is St. Patrick's Day, and um I don't know if I think my mom was doing uh corned beef that day,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
yeah, if
Nice.
if if McDonald's don't have any Shamrock Shakes, I'll go to Arby's and get their mint chocolate shake.
Mm. Nice.
So,
Nice.
but yeah. Oh, I also had a large box of checker fries today with
There
some
it is.
ketchup. Loved it. I really wasn't planning on getting any, but I just like, you know what, I need to eat before we get to doing Pow Block. And I
Mm.
know these fries is just gonna uh it's gonna do me justice. So, but that's pretty much it, everybody, for Snack Tendo. We're gonna get into play with power. Corey, what have you been playing with power?
Oh man. So I have been kind of so last weekend I don't remember if I talked about it on the last episode or not. I don't know. I think we recorded before. Uh but I played some Mario Kart with my kids, and that was really fun. Uh they just kind of, you turn on the automatically go type thing, and they just had a blast playing. And like my daughter, like she got up a couple times and like started doing other things and then would come back, right? But my son, man, he was glued to the TV and was like really into it. He was You couldn't pull him away, man. He was having a good old time. um but I also played a little bit more Final Fantasy 7. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I ever ever do. Uh but I yeah, I do though, Ed. And by the way, Final Fantasy 7, I don't really have any news to update. I'm climbing Shinra Tower, so to go save Aerith. So that's where I'm at.
So
Uh
you're close to the so
it's the end of the beginning, I think, is what it
yes,
is.
getting out of Midgard. So that would
Yeah,
be close to the end of the first disc if by PlayStation 1 standards. From that time. You begin like at the end of this one.
great.
Close.
Uh but that's kind of what I've been playing. But Ed, So this kind of ties into the discussion I guess we're going to have later. But I have show and tell tonight, Edward. I have show and tell.
Yes.
I have 2 games and an amiibo. So, um, first of all, we got Everybody Want to Switch. It was on sale on the Amazon or on Amazon, yeah. And then
Everybody, the conversation that we had about this game was pure
oh
comedy.
yeah, no, if it was full price, I wouldn't have gotten it. No way. But for $19.07, sure, why not? You know.
But
And then
what made us what you drew out the dramatics the way that you text me because you're just like, I did
sure,
the thing.
sure,
You
but
did because I'm just like, Corey, what's going on? I may or may not have bought Everybody Wants to Switch. I'm like, why? Like you did it and you put I did. And then it was just like we
mhm,
went from there. And then when she revealed the price, I fell out my seat. I was just like, Corey, you cannot be making me anticipate or keep me in this like in the state of what's going on. The state of worry. Nintendo
mhm.
worry, I should say.
Yeah. So that was fun. And then I also got WarioWare Move It, super
Nice.
cheap. And this, like I said, this all ties into what we're going to talk about later, Ed. Okay, but thought that was fun. And then of course, adding to my amiibo collection, I got the Chic um, amiibo.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm like GameStop has all these ones restocked up for pre-order, and I
Mm,
really want the Rob the Robot and the Duck Hunt dog. But every time I order something from GameStop, something gets really effed up, and now I'm like really concerned that if I do, they're gonna mess something up, and I don't want to go through that again.
right.
So yeah. Anyway, but that's all I've been playing. I was pretty happy with my pickups. So
Okay. Uh, well, still playing Phoenix Wright. I promise everybody I'm gonna have a new game when we come back. From PAX, we're gonna be talking a lot about what we've been playing, like the demos and stuff. Um, Started up a little bit of Gree. I beat something new in Vampire Survivor. I've been like not uploading. I've been getting like new achievements and stuff for that game, so I'm still unlocking things. And I think at the time of this episode, I think Switch Online has a free preview, and I think Vampire Survivors is one of them. I think. Don't quote me on that. I just seen it like on Nintendo Life with a picture on it. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool if that was cool that if NSO was free for the weekend and Vampire Survivor was one of the games that they used. But I got into Contra Super C on the Contra Anniversary Collection. I'm starting to relearn that game because I want to try and beat that game uh by memorization and not having to do a different Konami code. Because in Super C, there's a code to get 9 lives instead of the 30. So I am trying to go through that game without dying or using any continue. So I am dying at some parts, but it's because I'm relearning the game. I'm like, that is my focus to learn the game. And then I'll move on to Contra 3, the Alien Wars. And that one is gonna be hard. Because in order to get the true ending on Contra 3, the Alien Wars, you have to play that game on hard,
mhm,
you know. And I'm
yeah.
just like, oh great. Um and the thing about it is because it's not on NSO neither. Cause I was straight be rewinding a lot of stuff trying to
Mhm,
learn
mhm,
it,
mhm.
trying to get it. And I know that's cheating, but I'm like, that's the way that I when I play games on NSO, that's the way that I can make up my mistakes, and get through stuff. So next time when I play the game, be like, okay, I can get through this way. So pretty much that is it. I am going to be getting back into some Series X games and some Nintendo games, like Rune Factory 5. I'm gonna start up. Code Ren, I'm gonna start up. Um, I downloaded Psychonauts 2. I'm going to be playing that so I can finish it. My Hellblade and the Sacrifice, I'm going to be playing before I get to PAX, because I want to beat that game before I go
Yeah, because
to
we're
PAX.
gonna do book club while we're there. So I think
Yeah.
it's you, me, Pat, and Stephanie talking about Hellblade,
Okay.
which I
So
got to get
yeah.
my notes ready for that too. Uh, so
Yeah, I'm going to be doing it probably like after church. I think I probably going to finish it within 3 or 4 hours. Um so and go from there. So yeah, that's what I've been playing with Power Everybody.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Deering, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.
nice.
So Corey, how about we get into Family News? Take
Yeah,
it
I
away.
guess we could do that. Before we get into Family News, though, Ed, I gotta plug the Way Forward Spotlight podcast.
Ooh.
It's free for everyone. Spotlights aren't early access, but the perk for patrons, silver tier patrons at least, is that they get to ask questions, and we had a couple really good ones. So I advise you go check that out over on patreon.com/Boss Network, or the Boss Rush podcast feed, or on YouTube. Go check it out. It was really fun. I learned a lot about their personal histories with Contra. Learned a lot about kind of what they took from Contra 4 and how they applied certain things to Operation Galuga, and what they didn't apply to Operation Galuga, which is a real fascinating conversation to have. So we learned a lot about that, and then we learned a lot about what's going on with the new old Shantae game that's coming out, that Limited Run is helping them put out, which was awesome. And yeah, after Shantae comes out, I think I'm gonna reach back out so we can talk about Shantae and Shantae Advance with Matt Bozon, the creator of Shantae. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Also, we talked a lot about the future of River City Girls, and a little tease for everybody who's into River City Girls. And I also pitched them some Dream Way Forward projects. So, um, which they both agreed that those sound like great ideas. So fingers crossed. It
Yes.
was awesome. It was great. And, obviously Stephanie and Pat and LaRon were all there too. So go check it out. Great discussion. It's about 55-ish minutes. So
I kind of just want to cry because I wasn't there, and I'm just like, why on the Wednesday did I have to close at work? I'm
yeah,
like,
Ed, come on. What are you doing? This is your company.
I know,
So it's
but
anyways.
yes.
I guess we'll get into family news now. It was a really great discussion. It was a really good time. So check it out. Where's family news? There it is. All right, our first story, Ed. Our first family news story. Man, we got into family news really quick tonight. Only 27 minutes, Ed, into the conversation. It's quick for us. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has hidden a tease for Pokemon Legends ZA. Supposedly, this report comes from Eurogamer.net. Basically, the end screen of the teaser trailer for ZA used some text that you can see in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in the same exact, like the text is that weird kind of fake Pokemon language.
Hmm.
And it's all the same characters in a row. This has to do with, let's see, the fans believe that the Paldea Realty Group could therefore be the same company undertaking the urban redevelopment plan for Lumiose City, as teased in ZA's announcement trailer, which you can see below. So they show the trailer, and then there's a screenshot on Reddit, and this screenshot's from Reddit side by side, and it's very it's exactly the same. So it seems that ZA may be connected to Scarlet and Violet in some way. So that's cool. It was really cool. Did you see the tease, Ed? Did you see the screenshots?
Oh no, I have not.
You should. You should. It's really interesting. I think it's neat when companies do that. Like they tease games or at least connect games by these little Easter eggs without actually like, you know, it's not like the Marvel thing where like, oh, Ant-Man has a movie coming out, so Ant-Man is in the, I don't know, Iron Man movie or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's just little things like this, which is really cool. Uh, so that's it. I don't have anything else to say, and you clearly have nothing else to say. Thanks, Ed.
Well, it. I know when they did the Pokemon Direct, and you seen the that kind of Pokemon, you think of Pokemon Gold and Silver. Um, and so this looks like it's also something about it speaks Gold and Silver in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they're going way back into the early '90s when that game came out, using that ancient Pokemon um, in their symbols. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Hmm. Uh. All right, Ed. Our next story. This one's pretty neat. Metroid for the NES is eligible for the National Museum of Play, which is a video game Hall of Fame type thing. Uh, I think it is the Video Game Hall of Fame.
mhm.
So this comes from museumofplay.org. Uh, which video games do you think are most worthy of joining icons such as Pong, Super Mario Brothers, and The Legend of Zelda in the World Video Game Hall of Fame? You can vote below for the one that you think best meets the criteria of icon status, longevity, discovery, and innovation. So the games here, probably most of them deserve to be in here, but the games listed here, Ed, that you can vote on for the Video Game Hall of Fame. This is the player's choice part of the vote. Asteroids, Elite, Guitar Hero, Metroid, Myst, Neopets, Resident Evil, Sim City, uh, Tokimeki Memorial, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Ultima, and You Don't Know Jack. So those are the nominees. Metroid is obviously the Nintendo representative in this list. So this is a neat list. I always like seeing which games are nominated because it's
Mhm.
always fascinating to see, what it's different from like saying if a game is good or not, right? It's different from like reviewing a game. It's what game is like impactful for the time, right? And what game changed the way we think of video games, right? So like obviously the original Resident Evil, especially now, is not a good video game, right? It's the tank controls, it runs at like 20 frames a second. There's the loading screens, everything, but it created a genre that everybody loves now, right?
It
Survival horror
it
is the
perf-
genre.
so it perfected the genre, but it didn't create it.
Well,
Um,
it created the name of the genre.
Survival horror, yeah,
Yeah.
because like Alone in the Dark, um, is kind of the first survival horror before it had that name. But Capcom did had Sweet Home that was in for the Famicom that never came here. So they had horror, but they didn't have survival horror like Alone in the Dark and Resident Evil. Now Resident Evil created that genre because it had the cutscenes. It had, you know, with FMV and puzzles and some of the enemies, and the control was designed that way to make the game a bit scarier and
Hmm.
everything. The tank controls, and so you got that game building a foundation on how survival horror games should be. And then after that, as time went on, survival horror evolved, and so that forced Resident Evil to evolve as a series. Um, but I think out of this whole list, I would have to give it to Metroid. Like, it not only created the um adventure aspect, but it helped usher in the Metroidvania. I mean, just look at Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. It took that Metroid design um and you know ran with it for its second game, because Metroid, as popular and unpopular as it was a first for this the game being designed, not knowing where to go and not telling you how to get there and everything. And then when Super Metroid came, um, that really, just like Resident Evil, um perfected the genre and the design of that game. So I would definitely have to give it to Metroid. um Nothing against Ultima, because that's a big thing for PC players. Nothing against Sim City, nothing against Mist. uh but I'm like, out of this whole list, I would have to give it to Metroid. um because of just what it's done. Like, out of out of out of this whole list, probably the three games stand out, and that's Metroid, Resident Evil, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Hmm.
Um, like,
Yeah.
and no disrespect to Miss or anything, but Miss, if you come from the PC world, you would definitely have Miss. A lot of people would be able to talk about Miss in Ultima, like with those two games. Um, but like for video games, across like PC and console, I think Metroid has been one of the biggest influence and stuff.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I think obviously there are two games you think of when you think of, obviously it helped create another genre, which I've heard people really moving away from the Metroidvania name for the genre, which people have started using the term search action game,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. Uh, I mean, I don't really like the term Metroidvania either, but search action kind of feels not.
Metroidvania is just a easy turn generalization of
Yeah.
that style of game. Search action is kind of like where I have to. I get what it is. It's an action game where you have to search. I mean, it's really should be of I mean, it's really a adventure action game in a sense with exploration. Because in adventure games, you are going on this adventure, fighting things to be able to progress and make your character stronger. But because Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, or I should say Super Metroid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, are two of the most recognizable games, um, that have those elements but do something different. Like Metroid, Metroid has it where you have a venture style and you find energy takes to be stronger, health wise.
Hmm.
While Castlevania has the RPG elements, and even though you find things to make you stronger, there's different things that you can acquire to make um your character stronger while also having secrets in that game. Super Metroid doesn't have secrets compared to what Castlevania has, Symphony of the Night. So
Hmm.
with those elements and those being the most recognizable popular games out of the action adventure kind of genre or adventure genre that they were, Metroidvania just kind of fits that name. So it's just a basic generalization for it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, you know, there's been so many games. I mean, up until like Metroid Dread, there wasn't really any kind of, I would say, well, I guess the DS Castlevanias and the 3DS
Hmm.
or whatever, but uh I don't know. I would say that there, up until Metroid Dread, there were a lot more Metroidvania games that weren't titled Metroid or Castlevania.
Yeah.
uh that were, maybe more relevant than those games were at the time, but anyways, whatever. That's just getting into the weeds. And yeah, anyways, I think a lot of these games are well deserved of being there. I think there are definitely some on here that are a little bit, yeah, maybe not, but oh well.
Neopets.
Yeah. uh he might as well just throw the Tiger Electronic games from the late 80s in there too. All right, so moving on. Moving on to game companies that don't matter anymore. The Embracer Group ceases all operations in Russia. And this is kind of confirming the reports that we hinted on last week, but significantly less money than before. So the Embracer Group is selling off Saber Interactive for $247 million, including their Knights of the Old Republic remake, and many unannounced projects are going with Saber. Saber seems to be going independent, or whatever they want to call it. Uh, it also seems like they're off. Uh, they're selling. What is it? They're selling the developer that makes the Metro games also, um,
Yeah.
which means they also, the Metro team gets that IP, uh, and so there's another pretty big player that they're selling as well. So it's funny because this press release came out yesterday, I think, officially, and a lot of people were like retweeting. It's like, Microsoft, please save Crystal. Microsoft, please save IDOS. Like it was like this whole thing of like people saying save Crystal Dynamics and IDOS.
Right.
uh, which I think Embracer will end up getting rid of them. I don't think they're going to close them. I think there would be a riot at this point. But
I think more likely Microsoft buy Crystal Dynamics because of them working on Perfect Dark.
yeah, yeah. So anyways, Embracer Group, also Gearbox is selling and getting sold off to, I would assume, 2K. That announcement has not been made public as of um, this recording, but maybe we'll find out next week, and maybe we'll talk about it then. Who knows?
So is the goal is to sell everybody that they purchased,
Well,
or the,
they made they made investments and plans based off of a like a $2.25 billion investment from the Saudi
Mhm.
public fund, which never came through, and then they are in debt, and so now they need to sell assets to make that money back. which includes closing studios so they don't spend money,
Right.
selling off studios so they do make money. And, they're in a lot of trouble.
Because
They're in a lot
Embracer
of
Group,
trouble.
they were rich before. I mean,
Maybe.
they have all they had a lot of investments. They were like I think an investment company, or it sounded like they had money before they bought uh all of these companies,
Yeah.
because they were in a good light um at a time before they made all of these investments.
Hmm.
So that's why I was just saying that them selling off all of these companies and closing these companies, it's uh it's just kind of weird. They had they were like, well, this is good for them, and then now it's just like, I can't believe this is happening. Boo, and boo, this company, Embracer.
Yeah. So it's it's a shame. We've lost some pretty decent studios already, and I mean, it's going to get worse before it gets better, I guess.
Very,
But
very true.
so, I mean, look, I honestly think if Embracer closes the Crystal Dynamics, and I mean, Eidos Montreal to a lesser extent, but the Crystal Dynamics, they're all just going to go to the initiative and work there because a lot of people already moved from Crystal Dynamics over to
Hmm.
the initiative, including the studio head. So I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened, but also I don't really want to lose Crystal Dynamics because they're important. Uh, so
I wonder if they did go independent, um, would Amazon try to work with them a lot, or snag something with them? Be very
I don't know. It
interesting.
just it really seems like Amazon is kind of divesting out of games altogether, including Twitch, which I had a fascinating conversation with someone who knows what's going on at Amazon. And let's just say Amazon doesn't care about Twitch at all, to the point where I don't think Twitch is going to be around in the next 5 years, in my opinion. So, I
Well,
mean, maybe they will, but obviously not to the extent that they are now, unless they change some things. But um,
yeah,
I think Twitch will be around in some. Well, it's going to be that thing that kind of sticks around, but will never be what it was. At
when
the
it
top
first
at
started.
its peak. So that's my opinion, though. Who's to say, huh?
It yeah, I feel like there's gonna be a documentary about Twitch, a very interesting one. But yeah, as for this, I guess this story is good because Saber Interactive, they in a way kind of got their freedom back. Um, and even though there are some, they made some business decisions on what games Embracer is going to keep and what IP Saber is going to be able to take. Um, it is interesting to see that they at least were able to come to an agreement, um, and kind of part ways. Uh, so it'd be interesting to see how the future goes, um,
Yeah,
with Saber Interactive.
yeah. Um. Okay. Well, let's move on to this next story, Ed. Uh, so an interesting thing came out about the Ioun Chronicles Switch physical copy. The Switch physical copies are being delayed until May 21st, 2024. On a in one of those fun graphics that companies like to tweet out now, so they can send out longer messages, even though they're all verified and can send out longer messages. Uh, 505 Games, to our cherished Ioun Chronicle community, We regret to announce that there will be a delay of the physical edition of Ioun Chronicle 100 Heroes for Nintendo Switch to May 21st in the Americas and EMEA. So that's the European, not the European Union, but over there, Europe, places like that. All affected backers will receive digital Nintendo Switch copies at launch, ensuring your adventure begins on time. Sorry for any inconvenience. For inquiry about the delay, you can contact their support page, but at least they're making good on that, though. And like sending out digital copies, you're basically giving away the game for 2 copies of the game for the price of
Mm,
one, which is, if somebody doesn't care, like they could take that code and sell it, or something along
yeah.
those lines. Like that's a big chunk of cost, So good on them though. That's a good make good, I think, while they wait on their physical copies. Usually you hear stuff like that and they're just like, "Oh, the Switch version's just delayed."
Yeah. Which man, I just have a feeling that's probably what's going to end up happening.
hmm
Because I'm like, we know this game was for Xbox.
Well, the Switch, the game has gone gold, so it's done. It's probably they probably are having trouble manufacturing enough carts. To be honest, is probably what it is. Um, Probably, in my opinion. But I guess we'll see. But I think that's a cool thing that they're doing. They're
Yeah.
making good on that, and a lot of companies would not do that, obviously. So there's a spider on my ceiling, and I'm just kind of like looking at it. It's kind of creepy. It's red. I've never seen that kind of spider before. It's real tiny. Anyways, all right, Ed. Let's get into these tiny little stories, the DLC, if you will.
Okay.
So Tetris 99, the game that you get when you subscribe to Nintendo Switch Online, is getting it's getting an update, and it's notably its first update since April 14th, 2022. So it's been almost 2 years to the day, 1 year 11 months. This update must be applied to the game for gamers to use it. Let's see. Save data will be available. Okay. I'm trying to see if there's anything important. Latest update, version 2.4.0, patch notes. General. Various adjustments have been made to improve the gameplay experience. That's the patch note. That's it.
Figures Nintendo.
So, yeah, it's funny. That's funny. I always enjoy Nintendo's patch notes because they're never notes that's just improve stability,
And then
improves the
that's it.
game. Well, that's why you patched it. That's what patches are.
Yeah.
Unless you're never mind. We won't go there. I was about to name some companies, but I don't want to do that. That's mean. It's really mean. All right, Ed. Crypt of the Necrodancer is getting a massive DLC pack called Synchrony. This comes from an announcement via their Twitter page, handle, whatever profile. The Rhythm Revolution lands on PlayStation and Switch. Crypt of the Necrodancer Synchrony drops March 13th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific. Don't be out of sync. So you can subscribe to their newsletter sometime soon, and you could win one of 13 free Steam keys. So there's that.
Nice.
Man. So obviously Crypt of the Necrodancer came out before Cadence of Hyrule.
Yes.
Right? Because that's why they wanted to make it.
Yes.
Is it? And I know this is like a kind of like a unique case, obviously, because Nintendo helped kind of get that out the door, the Cadence of Hyrule, right? But like, and I also know that they have a sequel coming out at some point.
Hmm.
I think it's called Sword of the Necrodancer. But is it? Is there any kind of? There's got to be examples of a company developing a game, putting out like a pseudo sequel slash sequel, but then going back to the first game and putting out DLC. There's got to be cases like that, right? I would assume
Um, not
probably more, probably more of like a PC realm than consoles, I guess.
not so much. I think uh once a game is finished with uh any DLC or just a game itself, they normally move on to their next project. Um, because like normally DLC is supposed to extend the game, and I think because the first game didn't really get any DLC, and they did Cadence of Hyrule. Um, I think them going back to do like show support and do this DLC before their sequel comes out. I think it was already always in their plan to bring extra content to that game, but because Nintendo worked with them and they had to work with Cadence of Hyrule, they probably had to put their DLC on hold. And once that game was out, they started working more on it. Um,
Hmm.
so they could get it out, and they probably been they probably a small team. uh they probably been testing it, getting approvals, and going back and forth, doing quality assurance with it. So they probably been busy going back to that game and finishing their plans for that game before they release the new one.
Yeah.
It really isn't a normal thing, or it really isn't something that companies would do. Normally they make the game and start working on extra content to bring out,
Hmm.
unless something like what Nintendo did comes in and be like, we would like to have you take one of our characters and use your game and blah 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 like that.
Hmm. Well, I hope people go back to it and play it because it's I think people really like that game, and the fact that it's getting DLC this what I don't know all these years later seems, I don't know, it seems like a Stardew Valley effect almost, where like this game just keeps on getting updates and interesting or Dead Cells, I guess would be a better connection
Yeah.
because of paid DLC. But all right, Ed, are you ready to build your next Pokemon at Build a Bear Workshop?
Yes.
Because we have the next Pokemon that you can build. Are you ready?
Ooh.
It's Bidoof,
Aw,
the weird
cool.
looking, fluffy raccoon beaver looking Pokemon.
Hybrid.
Yeah. Um, so that's your next Build a Bear.
But he is cute, and shout out
Yeah.
to our guy Dan Murphy. It's one of his favorite Pokemons. Uh,
Is it
I,
his favorite, or is it just like a meme within the Boss Rush community now? Is it just like a
I think it's one
inside
of his
joke?
I think it's one of his favorites.
I'm gonna have to ask him about that.
You know, because
Um,
like every time he posts them, I'm just like, oh, he's so cute. Like
yeah.
Bidoof is innocent and cute and everything.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So Bidoof is your next Build a Bear character, and yeah, have fun with that. All right, Ed. Our last story here. Valorant coding. Apparently, somebody has gone in and data mined Valorant,
Mm.
and have found hints at Nintendo Switch uh, code. So possibly Valorant may be coming. Uh, this is kind of a weird one to me, uh, because it's a competitive team-based shooter, but Blizzard did bring Overwatch, and uh, people really love it there. So I don't know. I think this is a weird one, just because it's so competitive and they build esports around it, and they, you know, how's it going to run on the Switch? So I don't know. This is a weird one. But this story is from Nintendo Life. A recent data mine of Riot Games' popular free-to-play shooter Valorant has supposedly revealed references to Switch. It's led to speculation of a Nintendo version of the game could be in the works. Some other theories suggest that it might just be specific controller support for the game, which is probably more likely. Additionally, there are crossplay references in there and some other findings, including evidence of Linux and Steam Deck versions. So this was originally spotted by PC Focus on social media. Uh, I don't know. This seems like it could go both ways. Valorant is really competitive though, and if you're playing on PC, you're not playing with controller, but it's not available for console. So I don't know. What do you think, Ed? I guess.
I I think it's too late to put it on this
Mm,
on
I don't
Switch.
think that at all. I
I
think,
I
or I
I
mean, on the Switch specifically, maybe, but Valorant's going to be around forever.
well, yeah, but I just thinking like putting it on the Switch when there's a possibility their new console
Yeah,
um maybe coming out, and like
I forgot that the next console might be coming out soon.
right,
I'm not even thinking about it.
and I got nothing against Riot Games and stuff, but I just think I don't think they're a big name for Nintendo players.
They're not. I mean, they. I mean, well, League of Legends is the game. I think League of Legends is what it's based off of, right? So,
Yeah,
um, there's been a bunch of the Riot Forge kind of spin-off games on Switch. All of
Switch,
them are
yeah,
on Switch, I think.
and they
Um,
got good ratings. They they're some say they're kind of average, but they're good. They're good games on Switch. It's just that
mhm.
no one kind of talks about them, and I don't know if Riot is. I don't know if Riot is interested in doing something like this for
Yeah,
Nintendo.
I think that's what Riot Forge was for, is to get that, their IP on other platforms and let other people develop.
Yeah,
And I mean, we just read that they shut down Riot Forge and laid off a bunch of people, right? So obviously it wasn't working for them how they thought it was, even if the games were good or mediocre or whatever. They clearly didn't sell how they wanted them to. So um, I don't know. I don't know if it was just sales expectations or what, but
hmm
uh, I mean, I could see this both ways. I could totally see Valorant come to Switch just because it can, but then I can also just be like, yeah, sure they want controller players to play, and if people like the Switch controller, they can just play with the Switch controller, whatever. So, uh, by the way, I have one of my Switch controllers hooked up to my computer for things, which was interesting.
I tried playing Beyond Our Eyes with the Pro controller. Um, I know I did Bionic Commando with the Pro controller because I do have Steam on my computer, so I played it that way. Uh,
Yeah.
but I kind of also use it to charge my Pro controller too during the computer.
Yeah. Oh man, good times. Good times. Oh man. All right, Ed. That's it for stories. That's it for news. That was quick. We're only an hour in. We're almost at the end. Um, so for Pack Watch this week, really only two kind of huge games are coming out this week. MLB The Show 24 is coming back to Switch. MLB The Show brings back all the legends you love and introduces some new ones too to help you build out your squad in Diamond Dynasty. Diamond is spelled with a Y instead of an I, by the way, which really annoys me. A card collecting mode. Oh god, it's like Ultimate Team. It's like EA's Ultimate Team. Lets you open packs of players to put together your own competitive roster that where you can compete in single and multiplayer modes.
That's just Yu-Gi-Oh! This mug. What the
Oh
heck?
my gosh. No, this is Madden and FIFA Ultimate Team is exactly what this is.
Uh,
And what is it? 2K's My Player Experience or whatever.
uh,
Gross. Gross. But it's coming to Switch. So it's so funny, man. Like, obviously, so Sony's San Diego studio develops this game, a
Yes.
PlayStation studio, right? And Microsoft has all the marketing for this, right? Because it's on Game Pass.
Yes.
And now, obviously, it's coming to Switch, right? It's just, I mean, it's been on Switch, but it's just wild to think about, like, the games that are the consoles that are getting the most press for this game is not the one that is developing it. And that's because MLB, once, obviously Microsoft is probably paying for the Game Pass, so they're getting the advertisements for it. And then,
Right.
they want people to know that it's on Switch because you can take it with you. So I played one of the versions on Switch when it was like the free game trial or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It was fine. It was okay. I mean, it was pretty serviceable. It wasn't as good as, like, I think 2K does a really good job with NBA 2K.
Yeah.
Um, and FIFA was good when it came out in 2017, and then continued your roster updates yearly, for $50 with the legacy version. But it still played really well. And then obviously, like, they actually put a new game out on Switch this year, the FC 24. I don't know how that ran, but I assume it probably ran similar to FIFA. And so, the sports games usually do pretty well on the Switch, but MLB The Show, I would say, is probably the worst. But also, I'm sure Sony probably has the least amount of experience with Nintendo's products, right? So,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, this is the thing about it, is that the game still sells well on PlayStation.
Yeah,
Um,
charts every year.
yeah, it has a big player base because of Xbox Game Pass, and people get the Switch version just kind of like as a collector's item, also like for traveling. Like it's
Well,
low
the thing
key.
is too, sorry to interrupt, but a
Oh,
lot of people usually double dip on the main consoles and the Switch version because
mhm,
it's cross play, it's cross save, and it's cross platform.
yeah,
So, whatever your progress is on PlayStation, you can pop in your Switch version and continue if you're going on vacation, which is really nice. I love when games do that.
yeah,
We obviously saw a little bit of it. It's 2K's games specifically do that. Uh, you know, uh, um, XCOM did that. Civilization did that. Obviously, The Witcher we talked about originally with PC
hmm,
did it, and now with CD Projekt's kind of save cloud system, all the systems kind of talk to each other now. I think in some way, I love when games do that. It's
yeah.
awesome.
So
Also, two games were announced uh, coming to Switch soon this week. Two were announced. So El Shaddai HD Remaster
oh, you
is
forgot
coming.
one. You forgot one game.
Oh shoot, I forgot. You're right. Got to finish the pack watch first. So also the big one. This is probably the most important one of the two. On 3/22 Friday, while we're at PAX, Princess Peach Showtime is coming out this week. Uh, Peach and a group of toads are invited to attend a performance at the Sparkle Theater, but when Grape and the Sour Bunch attack the venue, Peach must team up with the theater's guardian, Stella, to save the day. So,
Yes,
neat. That game is I don't know, that I think that game could be really interesting and weird and fun.
I
It's
think.
got a it's got a sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's got a Luigi's Mansion meets Paper Mario kind of weird vibe.
Mhm.
Not like in gameplay and in tone and in graphics, right? But it just has that kind of like, this is a side Mario game that is experimenting with certain things and is trying things, and may not be the AAA Mario game that you're looking for, but it's doing something really weird and fun, and I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think the sales probably not going to be big, because of kind of like PAX and um, I
Yeah,
don't know
but
how.
PAX is only a couple thousand people. I mean, this game,
Well, yeah, but I think it's because there's other games coming out that week before Princess Peach,
hmm
that people are excited about. Um, but that doesn't stop it from doing numbers week per week. Like I'm not going to be picking up until like 2 more weeks till I come back from PAX. Um,
hmm
and like once that happened, then I could kind of resume my game buying stuff. But I'm just like think I just have a feeling that after PAX and everybody got their other games that they've been playing, I think it's gonna start picking up. If it doesn't start picking up in March, I think it'll probably start picking up in April. I it to be honest, I think it has a good chance of at least hitting 500,000 over a
hmm
period of time, and depending on how they take it in Japan, like it's a possibility that's going to do big numbers in Japan. um so
Yeah,
and if it hits a million over a couple of months or whatever, good for that game.
yeah, yeah.
And I did
All right,
enjoy
Ed.
the demo, I would say.
Yeah, it was fun. It was interesting. New Switch game announcements this weekend. A few games announced that are coming to Switch. El Shaddai HD Remaster is coming to Switch on April 28th, which
Hmm.
I don't know, kind of like a cult classic. I don't really know much about this game except that people who played it really liked it, apparently. And if you didn't play it, you're missing out, apparently. So
So this is
I just don't know much about it.
yeah, with El Shaddai, it was kind of like, this is the thing about it, that it was kind of big on 360. I think PS3 got a version
Yeah.
of it. Um, it didn't sell well in because this I think this game was from Marvelous. Um, I think who published it. I think it didn't sell well because it was very limited in stores. Like
hmm
you had to probably, if you didn't pre-order it from GameStop, there's a likely chance that you weren't going to get you a copy of this game, because Target, Best Buy, probably some other places did not carry this game. Um, Even though you could have bought it digitally, I think a lot of people were still trying to get the physical version of games.
hmm
So it didn't do too well in store sales. Because it was hard to find a physical copy of this game. I think
hmm
now that this game is coming back, a lot of people who missed it now will have a chance to like play the game, to buy it and
hmm
play it.
Yeah, it's I'm interested to see how well it does, to be honest. So the other game that was announced this week for Switch is an indie game called Moonglow Bay. I think it's already out on Steam, but it's
Mm-hmm.
launching on April 11th. I don't really know what kind of game it is. I just saw it was announced. So Moonglow Bay. Let's
I
see.
think it's a surf- uh,
It's
uh,
a Moonglow Bay is a fishing role playing video game developed by indie studio Bunny Hug and published by Coatsink. So there you go.
mm,
Fishing
okay.
RPG. It came out on Steam in 2021. Also on Steam right now, it is $7.49.
Not bad.
So I don't know. Sure, why not? Weird indie game. Switch is full of them. Bring it on.
Exactly.
All right, Ed. That's all we got. That's all we got this week in terms of news and games, and pretty brisk episode as compared to the last two, which were 3.5 and 2.5 hours
Yeah.
of
Well, Corey, you said you have a story to tell, so now I hand it still. You have the floor uh, to just tell your story.
Yeah. I'm yeah, so a couple weeks ago, obviously we had a larger conversation and even an expansion pass, the last time we recorded a bunch of episodes for in advance about um it was about kind of rediscovering your the episode's called Rediscovering Our Gamer Identity, and it was mostly me kind of sitting and not complaining about how I've been playing games, but kind of like mostly reflecting on how I've been playing games and how creators play games to make content, and you're playing the game to make the content instead of playing the game to enjoy the game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think to a lot of that degree, I've been doing that, trying to play games to, video game book club. We obviously have a huge Nintendo and PlayStation fan base here. So filling the Xbox gap is something that, I felt like I needed to put myself in. Not that I'm like totally against Xbox now. I'm not. I love my Xbox. I love Xbox. I'm not saying that, but it kind of, you know, when there was a game that I wanted to play, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
was coming out on everything, or I think I would have had a better experience on Switch, I would get it on Xbox to kind of talk about it on that platform for a while. And I even, we talked about already, but like taking a break from the show to kind of fill the Xbox void when we had the Xbox podcast going on. And I don't know, it just I haven't felt like I I haven't felt like myself in a while in terms of gaming. I mean, the other side of that coin is I haven't felt like myself in a while, but that's a whole nother issue and
Discussion.
podcast and discussion, uh, which we can talk about at a later date on probably After Dark. But I kind of, last night I was sending you some pictures, and I brought out all of my old systems and
Mm-hmm.
consoles and games and laid them out on the table over there in my gaming space over to the, what is this, left? Yes, L for left. Okay, yeah, over here. And I was going through and I'm like, man, I really had a lot of fun with a lot of these Nintendo games. And I'm like going through and having, these nostalgic thoughts and kind of getting sad, I guess, because of all the things I realized that I've gotten rid of over the years. And you always try to buy them back, and it's never really the same, right? It's if you sell your Zelda cartridge for N64 to buy a GameCube game or whatever, right? Like you're trading up essentially,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of us did back in the day, right? Just because like it made things cheaper. Nobody really thought about it. I mean, the video game industry hadn't hit their movie industry level of nostalgia or classic type things yet, right? Like Super Nintendo, you didn't think, oh, those classic NES games, right? I mean, the NES was only like 6 or 7 years old by the time like the great NES game or Super Nintendo games were coming out,
Yep.
right? And uh, I mean, they were still producing NES games when the Super Nintendo was out,
Yeah.
because like parents didn't want to buy a new console.
I
That
think
was
they.
the thing.
I think they didn't end Nintendo to 94, 95. I
Yeah,
think.
because I mean, Mega Man 6 came out in 94, right? So 93 or 94. And then Kirby always ends the console generation. So there, Kirby, one of the Kirby games came out real late in the generation. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think Turtles 3 ended up coming out really late in the generation as well. Uh,
Shoot, Game
and
Boy was still going on,
yeah,
almost close to like the end of 98, 99.
yeah. And so like now we're getting into that where, oh man, I sold all these NES games or these Super Nintendo games, or my Genesis is gone. My original Genesis is gone, I should say. And like seeing this, I had a Genesis 1, right? Like the big fat one with the red and the
Mm-hmm.
blast processing plastered all over the front of it, and the volume knobs for no reason on the console. And I was like, what is this for? With the headphone jack in the front, which was really weird also.
Yeah, I like that
Uh,
though.
yeah, I mean, I guess it was pretty novel at the time, which is like, you think about it now, there's headphone jacks in our controllers, which is almost the same thing, except for Nintendo, because they refuse to
I
just,
mean, at least they
you know,
did Bluetooth. I mean, they had headphone jacks, for, of course, for the Game Boy stuff, but like
yeah,
console,
but yeah, I know. And there's one in the Switch, right?
yeah.
I'm not saying that, but it's just like, man, uh, and so I don't know. I was sending some pictures to you, and I was kind of posting on social media about it, and uh, I just kind of sat for a while and thought about, you know, rediscovering what I wanted to do for myself in terms of games, right?
Hmm.
And as much as I love Xbox, right, I'm not like a collector of Xbox games. I still have all my consoles, and I have a lot of 360 games and a handful of original Xbox games, right? Like, that generation of Xbox is nostalgic for me, but I have everything from that generation that's nostalgic for me, you know? So there's not really any like, oh, darn, I got rid of this or whatever. But, you know, you think of Nintendo, right? Like, I sold a bunch of NES games a while ago. Uh, Not anything. I mean, I think the only two things I got rid of that I really didn't, probably shouldn't have, were like the Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Junior two game cart.
Hmm.
And then I got rid of Tetris for NES because I was like, well, I have 8,000 versions of Tetris. I don't need the NES one because I'm never going to play it. Um, but like, when I started looking at N64, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, you know, even Wii, right, and into the DS and 3DS, and it's like, there's probably a lot of games I got rid of that I shouldn't have, and I'm looking at the Switch stuff, right, and I've gotten rid of a lot of Switch game, like physical Switch games too, because, you know, at the time I thought, man, if my and this was when I was like super paranoid that my daughter, you know, she was getting ready to be born. I'm like, man, if she gets one of these, she's going to swallow it. She's going to choke. And I have these things laying around, and they're really easy to access because they're on this small bookcase next to my TV. And, um, you know, if I accidentally leave one out, or, you know, she learns how to open the cases, or she's going to be the one kid that thinks these cartridges taste good. Uh, you know, I ended up getting rid of like my pretty big physical Switch collection at the time, right? Uh, and so, and since then, I've kind of been mostly digital, except for, you know, certain titles. And I don't know, man. I just regretted a lot of it, obviously, and I'm going to try not to make the same mistakes again. So I the long story short of it is, Ed, is like, I love Nintendo and I love the Switch, and so, and you know me and lists. I've made a list,
Hmm.
of course, and so I'm going to try to rebuild a Nintendo collection, from, uh, I would say N64 on, but I'm realistically, like, I'm focused on Switch right now specifically, and then I'll work backwards, I guess. And, you know, even maybe some Wii U stuff, right? But I kind of have everything on Wii U that I truly
Yeah.
like. You know, I mean, I'm missing a couple things, that I got rid of because of, uh, I was trading up for Switch games, and I was like, oh, what Wii U games don't I care about that I can kind of trade in for Zelda or whatever, Bomberman at the time, probably. I don't know. I wanted to have like the perfect launch Switch, experience, right? And so, you know, right over here down on the floor is my Breath of the Wild collector's edition, uh, which is funny because I brought up to you, Ed, that I actually have like a really rare print of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And I fell down a Reddit rabbit hole the other day, which I never go on Reddit because I mean I always knew that like it wasn't there, but I never thought anything of it because it's the collector's edition, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, the box for collector's editions usually doesn't have certain things on it. But apparently, a small run of not the master edition, like just the regular collector's edition,
Yeah.
um, that it's there. Apparently, there was a short run of Zelda boxes that doesn't have the ESRB rating on the front. And so it's like really rare that this version exists without the ESRB rating on the front. And it's really wild.
I think because like just looking from it right here, I think it's because on the collector's box itself, it has the rating. So
Yeah, it
inside
does.
of well, that's what I'm saying. It has
Yeah.
the rating, but inside of it, since it's just a collector's version and you can't really sell the game unless they got a barcode in it, they probably feel like it doesn't need the ESRB because the box on the outside contains that rating.
Yeah, but then I fell down. I thought that too, but then I fell down a rabbit hole, and some people like there was a few people that said, "Yeah, mine doesn't have it either." But then there was a whole bunch of people that were commenting on that saying, "Well, my collector's edition has the ESRB rating on the box." Like, and they were showing pictures of the cartridge box, not the collector's edition box.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and some people were like, well, is it the master edition? Is it the collector's edition? And people were like, no, it's the collector's edition, the one without the sword. Um, and people were posting pictures of their collector's editions with and without the ESRB rating. And I was like, oh man, I have this like really neat kind of version of, of
Exactly.
Breath of the Wild. This is cool. So I'm like kind of I'm after PAX it'll really sink in, I think, but like I'm kind of refocusing myself and just playing the content that I want to play. And if something new comes out that interests me, then I'll check it out. If not, then I'm not, right? And I've kind of tried to do that, but like in a way I haven't been doing that, and it's really frustrated me in a lot of ways. And when you create content or do podcasts, like you see all this stuff very differently than a normal person. I guess you would call them normal people. And so I've kind of come to the conclusion, Ed, that I should just play what I want and
Mm-hmm.
not be an idiot and not overthink everything, and just play the games and have fun and play the games on the consoles that I enjoy playing them on, and a lot of that is the Switch. And so I'm going to play the Switch whenever I can and start finding some physical copies of games that I want and go from there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to transform this scene behind me, right, which is very all over the place. Obviously, there's a lot of Destiny stuff back there, right, and a lot of Destiny books down in this thing down here. But it's gonna transform over time, I think, to feature maybe a lot of Nintendo type stuff, and I'm going to purge the things that I'm like, why do I still own? I went through last night. I'm like, why do I own some of this stuff? And then I went through some of the stuff that I brought home from my parents' house yesterday,
Yeah.
because I made the trek out there, Edward, to get some stuff. And I'm like, why do I still have this? And I have I have an original Talk Boy from Home Alone 2. And if you have a working one, it's apparently worth a pretty penny. I saw some stuff selling like mostly right after Christmas for like a working Talk Boy with the original Talk Boy tape for like anywhere between $200 and $250. And I'm like, I don't give two bleeps about Home Alone 2 or The Talk Boy. Do I love the movie? Yes. Am I a super fan? No. Do I need this Talk Boy? No. It just takes up space and wastes double A batteries. So why do I need this thing? Um, so I'm gonna get rid of stuff like that. And there's a lot of other things too that I'm gonna get rid of, uh, and like that, not like gaming stuff, but stuff like that. And yeah, I'm really upset that I have not focused on the Nintendo side of things the way I should for this show and the way I've wanted to, right?
Mm.
Which are two different thoughts, but it's the same thought for two different reasons, right? Um, and I haven't really focused. I haven't been this kind of energized about the Nintendo side of things for since I don't want to say since Boss Rush started, because we kind of rebooted the show and then whatever, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel good. I feel a lot better than I did a couple weeks ago, I think,
That's good to hear.
in terms of like what I want to do with my gaming life. um so yeah, I don't know, I feel a lot better, I think, right now about where my headspace is at in terms of gaming, you know. So I don't know. I wanted to follow up on that conversation, but you're just staring at me now.
No, I
I
think that's
feel
good.
I feel
No,
like I just ranted and should not talk anymore.
no, that's it. That's good. That you're feeling better and uh, you came to a conclusion on what you want to do with gaming. That's awesome. I think a lot of people need to sometimes really have that conversations for them with themselves, about their about their not gaming habits, but where do they want to go with gaming for themselves? Like, what do they want to play? What do they want to talk about? What do they want to experience? Like, really have that honest conversation um with yourself about it, because I think when your gaming lifestyle and your gaming taste start to change, you start analyzing and get a concern, be like, will I have time to play this game, or will I be able to have enough information about this conversation about this game and stuff. I think sometimes you got to get to a point where you just have that conversation of what you want to do, and not so much plan it out, but like really start to focus on when you're executing what you want to do, how where's your level of commitment to it and stuff.
Hmm.
So and always say that time is a factor, your mental health is a factor, um and other things. Like, we're in an age where we could wait for you to play an old game, or wait for you to buy a game and stuff and play it and experience. That's why backlogs have been, probably, if you talk about gaming, backlogs has been like almost the number one thing, because there's a lot of great games that are out and stuff, and people just have such limited time on what to play, or even have that mood of playing video games you
Hmm.
know
Yeah.
so I think it's good. I think people need to just have that conversation of, what do I want to do for gaming uh in my future and stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to kind of get that out there, and because it was following up on the last episode we did, and I kind of feel like I don't want to say like I feel like I've let the audience down, but in a way I kind of feel like not making the show the best it can possibly be has let people down. And so um, I just want to really, I want to make the show the best it can possibly be. And, maybe recording at 11 o'clock at night to 12:30 is not the best idea to do that. But I am trying to make things set up so I can do more Nintendo type things at my desk, and I'm trying to do more things to where we can improve the show, right? Like adding new segments and getting, having different types of news in the news story and
Mm-hmm.
a new section, and trying to be more active in the space and trying to engage more, and maybe someday we'll get back to where we were when we, were having the numbers we were having, and maybe someday, we'll add a third chair again, and maybe someday we'll be bigger than ever, and
Yeah.
that's the plan. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to like focusing and making sure we can make this the best it can possibly be, and um, it starts with me, to an extent, right? Like it starts with me refocusing, and I haven't been focused. So please stop me.
Well, everybody, that's going to be it for Nintendo Pow Block. Like Corey said, we're going to be on a break. We may try to get something out for next week's episode. It's not guaranteed at this
No, we
time
are.
being.
We are. We're recording at PAX. It's not gonna be a traditional Pow Block episode, probably,
Well, yeah.
but we're gonna try to record some things. Like, I'm trying to schedule some things with a couple people that, we're gonna have Jess from Zelda Universe on to have a Zelda segment. Basically, what I want to do for the Boss Rush podcast and the and Nintendo Pow Block is have like 4 segments of kind of like a Nintendo specific segments, right? Like Tales from the Backlog is a company or is a podcast that does obviously stuff for backlog gaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're gonna talk to them on Friday for about a half hour, and kind of talk about backlogs and why people are so obsessed with their backlogs and trying to get through them. And Nintendo seems to have, everybody has their backlog of Nintendo games, and why do we feel the need we have to play everything? So that's going to be an interesting conversation. Jess from Zelda Universe is going to be on to talk about what she's doing at Zelda Universe and Zelda Wiki, and also why Zelda has become so important to video games, and obviously her history with Zelda and stuff like that. But and there's a couple others that I think we're gonna have Roger from Gamerheads on, which will be fun.
Yeah.
And obviously you and I have kind of talked to Sebastian and Grayson, and we'll have them on something, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be really fun, I think.
Yes.
Maybe there'll be some surprises.
Yes.
Hopefully. I'm trying. You have no idea how many emails I have sent out trying to just get one person to respond. It's exhausting.
Emails. Well, everybody, that's going to be it for Nintendo Pow Block. Like I said, this is the day before we leave. We are super excited for PAX East. We cannot wait for you guys to see our content that we have from the show delivered straight to you guys. The discussions, the podcast, of course. We'll be talking definitely a lot about food with the Snack Tendo section. It's going to be very interesting, and you probably even talk about some of the panels that we visit. But everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!
Goodbye.
PAX East! Yes!
Yeah, the next episode we're going to record in person, I think. So
yes!
It'll be crazy.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.